Priest, Professor Khangelani Zuma of the HSRC explained why this is.
There's been an increase in the numbers of people that are living with HIV. However, we need to put that into context, that the numbers of people living with HIV increasing, it could be due to two factors. That is, people living longer because they're on antiretroviral treatment, so people are no longer dying, which is a good thing. But also the bad side is that more people are still continuing to get infected with HIV. So we've got two issues: people living longer because of the success of treatment, and also people still getting infected. So that is one of the issues that lead to this increase in the HIV, in the numbers of people that are living with HIV. However, the other side is that at the moment we've got just over 4 million people who are living with HIV who are on treatment. That is about only 62% of people living with HIV are on treatment. We still have more work to do to get more people on treatment to reach our 7.9 million people, all of them getting access to treatment. However, one thing that you need to remember, we cannot only fight HIV using only treatment. There is a lot more that everyone should do. We should all take responsibility preventing HIV infections, more so among younger generation.
Professor Khangelani there speaking to the SABC earlier this week. Well, at the press conference where the HSRC HIV prevalence report was presented, the Health Minister Dr Aaron Motsoaledi responded to other concerning findings that consistent condom use was low. More than a third of young women had sexual relationships with older men, and that early sexual debuts before the age of 15 had increased among males.
I told parents, whether we like it or not, these kids are not waiting for us to teach them at school. They already know. They are already doing it anyway. That's what I said. They are already doing what we think they don't know about. And they are already facts that point to that. So believing that when we teach kids about HIV, AIDS, and condoms and all that, we are teaching them something that we don't know. We are just living in a world of our own. There is social media now.
Well, the South African National AIDS Council, SANAC, is a voluntary association of institutions established by government to build consensus across government, civil society and all other stakeholders in a country response to HIV, TB and STIs. Well, to give us a perspective of what is in the HSRC report and the response needed, I'm now joined by Executive Manager, National Strategic Plan Implementation at SANAC, Dr Connie Kganakga. Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
So, on the face of it, it does seem that we are making progress in the fight against HIV. What's your take on the findings of this HSRC report?
I think we are making progress. The fact that we have been able to reduce new infections from 378,000 in 2012 to 231,000 in 2017 shows that there are certain things that we are doing right. And one of the things that we are doing right is the number of people that are on treatment. Remember, we have doubled our efforts in having more than 4 million people on treatment compared to 2012, where only half of the people were on treatment. And the other thing that we are doing right is the fact that we are also reducing new infections among young women. You remember that in 2016, 2,000 young women and girls were infected every week. The current status from the HSRC report tells us that we have 1,300, which is a huge reduction in the number of infections among young women and girls. We have also increased the number of males who are circumcised, especially with respect to medical circumcision. We also have got a good report on the reduction on mother-to-child transmission, which is also very low. But the new infections are still high. We have also been able to show that, you know, there are certain things that we are doing right with respect to stigma, for example. The attitudes towards stigma has also been reduced. So those, for me, those are the things that I think we are doing well. And of course, remember that UNAIDS expect us to reach the 90-90-90. And if you look at where South Africa is now, we are moving towards the 90-90-90. We have got 85% of our people at least knowing their status.
Right.
So the 90% target, we have 5% to reach it. And those that are knowing their status, 71% of them are taking treatment. And we have a viral suppression rate among them to 85%.
All right, so when we look at the statistics, it's a great story to tell. And I remember at some point the work was about awareness, teaching people about HIV, how to prevent it, etc., etc. Where are we now in terms of strategy? Because you're the custodian of this NSP, the National Strategic Plan. What is the message now? Is it about changing behavior, or do we still have to keep people informed about catching HIV, how to prevent getting it?
I think we should take prevention serious. We are in a process where we are actually directed as the whole world that we cannot treat ourselves out of HIV. We need to strengthen prevention programs. We have a prevention revolution agenda as a country in line with what the UNAIDS expect of us, that we should emphasize more on social behavior change and prevention agenda. We are quite aware that people are not taking condoms consistently, and of course there is also a prevention agenda of trying to introduce the pre-exposure prophylaxis so that the young people can be able to be given to reduce their risk by taking a PrEP. So we should also be aware that we also need to look at the social drivers. There are issues that really are driven, the epidemic is driven by some of the social structures. Alcohol use, for example, the inhibitions when people have taken alcohol that cannot be relating to consistent condom use.
All right. I'm going to rush us along because we're running out of time. I'm really concerned about this concerning statistic about young children, I can't call them anything else, under 15 that are now increasing. That's exposing them to HIV as well, isn't it?
It does, and of course we have got to strengthen our school-based programs. We have got a very good policy on sexual reproductive health in the schools, but we need to emphasize that. We need to revitalize our campaign on sexual reproductive health. We must also revitalize our campaign on wellness program. We need to, I know the minister is busy. We are supposed to have launched the wellness campaign program in this month, but we were not able to do that. But that's something that is high on the agenda of the minister to revitalize the wellness campaign. And
very finally, intergenerational sex, this blesser-blessee syndrome, again exposing our young girls to all sorts of problems.
And that's a societal problem. We need to engage as society and know that we can't deal with these things if they are only going to be the problems of government. Everybody needs to take responsibility to make sure that, you know, every citizen in the country, every sector in the society, civil society, private sector, government, all of us have got to work together just to make sure that we take responsibility for this epidemic. Otherwise, a one-size-fits-all won't work. It's a multi-sectoral program. We need to, all of us, work on it. And everybody must do their part to make sure that we change our behavior in many ways. Behavior change about taking responsibility to go and test. If you are positive, take responsibility to take treatment. And make sure that you adhere to that treatment. And also social behavior change. Parents, children, all of us working together, teachers, to make sure that we send the same message to everybody that it's our responsibility. All
right, Dr. Kganakga, I know that you're off to Amsterdam for a global AIDS meeting there. We wish you the best of luck there, and perhaps we can catch up again when you come back and you can give us some of the findings that was happening globally and that you can bring back home. But thanks so much for your insights today. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Okay. Now, the case against a community leader from Zwelihle in the Overstrand who was arrested for public violence has been postponed to the 26th of July. Kobani Nzongana also faces a charge of malicious